All right, Patreon supporters of the Zero Books podcast. This top left and everything else. This is Revolution.
Real G's chat.
Yeah, we are now in the Parrot room where we will just be talking shit about everybody. So Djene Vazlan has joined us. Pascal Robert is back. Jason Miles from This is Revolution. They're both from Pascal and Jason are both from This is Revolution. And of course, I'm Douglas Lane, your host. Hey guys, how's it going?
Shout out to Doug Lane for putting This is Revolution on Zero Books. That it is very nice to have more views on your show. So
well,
thank you.
I'm really pleased to do it. And at the moment we're getting all the advertising revenue, so I'm happy to exploit you.
There's his videos are getting a lot of views, it seems.
Yeah. The short ones, the 9-minute long one, did real well. And I think that the thing overall is going to do real well. We got to get the channel back on track.
I have another one, but is 4 minutes too short?
No, I think we can try.
I have a good one I did with Mike Davis. I had a talk with Mike Davis, and I cut a clip of him talking about why Bernie Sanders' campaign failed. Why he thinks
it's not about the length; it's about the density.
The density of content.
The density of content. Exactly. Somebody called this the petty bourgeois room. I think that's actually a pretty good name for it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
I saw that. So, is it like $1 to be a patron?
It's like $2 to most people are, I think, pay around $5. There's some that pay a little more because we give out ebooks, and then there's some that want to get a mug like this.
I just want to get an ebook. There's some books I want to
get this delivered.
There's some books I want to get. I've been shilling.
That's me. That's supposed to be me.
It's a good picture. I actually get my university's library. Well, when I used to have a library budget, they've of course cut my library budget because it's austerity time for the university. But I did used to get them to purchase Zero books.
Yeah, well, we are always pleased to do that. I've been trying to get into the libraries. It's difficult to get everything that we published out there into the libraries, and we don't have the distribution through the major like Ingrams or anything, so it's not automatic. But we are in libraries, and we're also in some art museums. That's kind of fun. Okay. What
my favorite Zero book. Thoughts. Can you guys?
Oh yeah, Michael Harris, welcome.
He's coming. We're talking tomorrow. Actually, me and Mike, we're doing a show tomorrow.
Where are all my Zero books? I think my wife Sarah has taken them somewhere. She reads them. She sits on the toilet and reads them.
They're perfect. They're perfect toilet. I'm just gonna chill for you for a minute. They're perfect toilet books.
Yep.
I tried to get Asatar Bear, Dr. Bear, to write a book for Zero. I was like, you should write a book for Zero. He goes, don't they usually have kind of shorter books that are more concise? He goes, I'm writing a textbook right now. I can't.
Yeah,
I can't change gears. Yeah, you can get them done in a couple of visits to the lavatory. They'll help you. They'll help pass the time.
You'll come out feeling smarter and lighter.
Yeah, well, they're good books. They're good books. I think we should definitely praise the Zero books offerings.
So, are you writing one for Djene?
I have to get my monograph done, which I actually am planning to write this summer, which is on the exciting subject. Well, for me, it's an exciting subject. For people I talk to about it, they seem less enthusiastic. But Kurdish activism in the late Ottoman Empire.
That's, damn! Wow, that sounds real fucking interesting.
That's my main research thing, which I'm trying to turn into a book at the moment. But I would like to write something about Kurdish politics, more general for a general audience.
That's some interesting stuff.
That is some interesting stuff.
I want to take all these different video essays that I've written and see if I can shake them and get like a thesis out of it, and then revise them into a little book.
Call it Doug Soup.
Yeah, I have the title. It's Nice Politics is the title I have in my head right now.
Get Vaughn to give you a name. He'll give you an appropriate name.
He gives me names all the time. Do you mean a book title?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to go to Brianna Joy Gray.
Here we are.
If we're gonna offer a critique, of
I
Brianna
can't
Joy
get
Gray.
too. I can't get
Perfect.
too real with my critique of Brianna Joy Gray because
a black woman on the left. This is excellent video commentary.
look,
Yeah.
look. Here's my thing, Brianna Joy. Look, Brianna Joy Gray. I'm gonna say like Kanye. Brianna Joy Gray doesn't like black people.
What? What?
That's not true. That's
What?
not true.
No, it's not true. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
She must take such she takes such a load of bullshit from people, and that must like
Does.
you've got the
She
racism and the sexism and the anti-leftism all in one, and she must like I can't. You got to have mental fortitude.
I resent her youth. That's all I resent. About
Really?
You resent everybody's youth, Doug.
But yeah, well, not Pascal's.
Me and Pascal have been having this conversation about Brianna Joy Gray because originally we wanted to get her on the show, and kind of jokingly but a little seriously, we put a tweet out like, "Hey, you should come on the show." And then my mom even like tweeted out, "Hey, you need to come on my son's show." And then people started like retweeting it, and it didn't get like super big, but I'm sure that motherfucker saw it. But she's an interesting person because she's not a ventriloquist. I don't think she's a racial ventriloquist.
No, she's not.
I do agree with 99.9% of the things that she says. There's just a comfort level she has around certain people that I question.
White people.
He said it.
Isn't she like isn't she the and maybe this is I don't know if this is racist. I'm from Britain, so I don't know.
So does that mean you can say the N-word?
No, I'm wondering, she reminds me of the lady from Dear White People.
Oh no, she's not like that.
No,
she's not woke. She's not a wokey. She's
not a
anti-woke.
Yeah,
she's not woke.
Anti-woke.
Yeah, she is. She's anti-woke.
I mean, the thing is about listen. Let me put my cards.
Somebody called her a verso leftist.
A verso leftist. That's like Jacobin. Like a Jacobin.
A little bit like Jacobin leftist, only.
I mean, listen. I appreciate Brianna Joy Gray because she takes profound amount of heat from people who I almost kind of despise, which are what I call Negro liberal media personalities, such as Joy-Ann Reid, what's the name of that political scientist on MSNBC? I hate that guy.
Dr. Jason Jolly.
Jason Johnson.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick.
Jason Johnson. What's the name of the Cuban American woman who likes to tell people, she likes to telegraph her blackness to shout down black people she doesn't like? Used to be on CNN.
What's her name? You know who we talking about. Y'all know who we talking about.
The one who got fired from the university for.
Did she get fired?
No, I'm just.
Oh, that.
You remember that one?
She's real. She's a real cute. But I can't think of her fucking name. I know who the hell you talking about. Yeah.
Like Zelina Maxwell.
No,
I don't like Zelina Maxwell. She gets grief from Zelina Maxwell is another one.
She gets bullied a lot, and you have to respect her for sticking to a gun.
No, we do. She just is real.
And, I mean, there are a lot of
she's
people.
too comfortable with white people. That's what I heard you say just a minute
I don't
ago.
think that's true.
That's what Jason said.
I did.
Yeah,
I said that shit. She is.
That's not. Come on, that's not a fair beef, man.
It's the,
you don't seem that you and I have talked, and you don't seem that uncomfortable with me, and no more than any other person that I've met, which is pretty uncomfortable, admittedly.
I mean, this is the thing.
I'm
right?
not trying to run into
I think that what causes Jason to recoil is that he senses that she doesn't have okay.
It's hard.
He senses a lack of racial authenticity in her. That I don't like the racial authenticity game. Not that you can play that game with me. I grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Ask 50 Cent if he knows where I grew up. So I mean, I'm not afraid of playing that game. I'm not one of those
people about me.
I'm not one of those people who like you can play that kind of game with. But she has a kind of exotic narrative. Her parents were educators. She was born in North Carolina. She was raised partly in Kenya. She came to the United States when she was 15. She claims New York as a background. And she's a black woman who has a very kind of upper middle class family background, kind of what pejoratively some people in the black community would call bougie. She's a bougie black girl. Okay. And I don't think Jason particularly likes bougie black folk, but I don't think he likes the bougie black girl.
The Nathan Robinson of the black political scene is what we're talking about here with Brianna Joy Gray.
Nathan Robinson is very exotic. He's
quite a dandy.
He dresses like a 1920s British colonial official.
Did y'all think when she got that podcast? Did y'all think anything when she got it with the dude? What's his name? Virgil, whatever his name
from Chapo.
Sure.
I thought the Virgil wasn't
he from Chapo?
Yeah, he's from Chapo. I don't know. I mean, it just seemed like Virgil was stepping up in the world to me.
When I saw her,
was like a major insider.
I'm with you right now. I'm not.
She could have done it by herself.
Before Jason, okay, this is the thing. Before Jason, and I still do. I really like Brianna Joy Gray because she's upbeat. She's got good energy. She's a cheery voice on the left. She's always very prepared.
Yes,
she's very smart.
She's smart.
Very, very eloquent in the way she makes her presentations. She's crisp. She makes me happy. I was like, I'm happy. I think it's very nice that Bernie Sanders found her. She's very
guys. I think we need to end this stream right here because we're all gonna get fucking canceled, including you, Pascal. For how freaking happy Brianna Joy Gray.
Okay, this is the thing. And my happiness about her presence in left media is solely because there are so few black people on the left who can take crap. For me, it wouldn't be a problem to go against those Negro liberals because I would expose them for the shills that they were in a very hard way, but they would block me quickly. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They'd be like, okay, whatever, we're not gonna talk with her. But
didn't hear it handed like get in a fight with Brianna Joy Gray, like a physical altercation with her?
Not physical. I think there was some kind of
word.
She's a blue check mark, and I think there's some kind of major law that like blue check marks can't block other blue check marks. So, but on a serious like left discourse, right? There is a fair interrogation to talk about her class allegiances. She lives in very, very upper middle class, like DC, New York City apartments, Harvard Law, Harvard undergrad, worked in major corporate firms. I mean, like she talks to the importance of working class politics stuff, but she's kind of living that kind of like professional managerial class lifestyle, right? And does
that mean that she has a drawer full of ice cream in her freezer?
I don't know if she's like Nancy Pelosi, but like she doesn't. I appreciate her dedication to the left subject matter, yes. But I find she's more loyal to the idea of left politics than to the struggle of working class people. Does that make sense?
I think that's where, I think that's where because again, we were talking about this shit earlier today, and
I don't think. Listen, I'm sure she has. Listen, first of all, I don't think you'll find many black people in America who don't have people in their family that are suffering under capitalism. I'm sure she probably has cousins or second cousins who might have suffered from mass incarceration. I'm sure she has all of that, but I don't think. I think that she is a professional managerial class black woman in America who has good left politics, but I don't think that her aesthetics in any way are reflective of a working class kind of value system. That's not an indictment. I'm not one of these kind of class purists that says that you can't be a petite bourgeois person, black or otherwise, and not have good left politics. I think we need those kind of people as well. But at the same time, right, there are certain things that I think she may not interrogate as well without that particular lens. Like, for example, like not interrogate her media. Does she interrogate that her own media space is bereft of a working class narrative? The same way Jason and we interrogate that our media space is bereft of a black female narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think this is like something that's an issue that I've spoken with you, Jason, about, and you as well, Doug, about the fact that like this new wave of online left media is very white and very middle class. And one thing that I really appreciate about Brianna J. Gray is that she's not a token black person to talk about black issues within left media.
Yeah.
She's a person who talks about general issues as it should be. It's not like she's the person you go to if you need to understand why there's a riot in St. Louis. She's talking about big structural issues like like healthcare and college and things like that. A kind of discourse that is almost unconsciously reserved for white leftists, which I don't think is necessarily.
I like her for that.
I appreciate.
We all agree on that.
As the one white guy with his white guy narrative.
I think I'm a white guy in America, according to the census.
Well, not to me.
Man.
You don't count as white.
Once you have that accent and that little beige.
It's the original accent that you're all supposed. It's called English, not American.
What? No.
Here's good comeback. Good comeback.
I want to say something though. It's serious in somewhat seriousness. I think that when we decide that who people are is more important than what they're saying, then we are making a big mistake. And that you have to interrogate the actual arguments and positions that someone puts forward first before you start looking for their motivation, at the very least. So like if you have a problem with Brianna Joy Gray or Nathan Robinson or me or anybody, then the first thing to do is to deliver like on what they said that you disagree with as clearly and as and argumentatively as you can, and then you might be able to say, and I think the reason why is because they're bougie bitch or something. But the first thing is, I think that this is the wrong position. And if Brianna Joy Gray isn't taking positions that you disagree with, then her affect or her narrative shouldn't really get. It may get in the way, but it shouldn't get in the way.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree.
Go ahead, Pascal.
Their position. I'm going to be very candid with you, and I'm willing to accept critique from this because this is a bit of an asterisk on the formulation you put forth that content trumps identity, and I don't disagree with you on principle. But let me tell you why I'm going to put an asterisk to that.
Okay, because
the realpolitik of what we're dealing with here is that a card has been played that this is white people's politics, and that's why it's never going to work. There is a value for me to having Brianna Joy Gray, because if we don't get more Brianna Joy Grays, there will never be left politics in America. Not because black people are magical, but because black politics will be used to neutralize it.
And specifically, like in the Democratic primaries, you're thinking, or
that's one general. The media apparatus, the whole cultural media political apparatus that maintains a social ideological operation of quote unquote blackness in America will be used to neutralize it.
And there was part of me that wished that she would have done the show. She could have done the show by herself. I don't think she needed a co-host.
And I'm not saying, you guys may disagree with me on that, But one thing is telling me, you're not going to tell me that that hasn't happened twice already in 2016 and 2020.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
You just said no. I don't disagree at all. I don't disagree with that.
And frankly, there's never been a left in America prior to the what I call the 50-year counter-revolution without rigorous support of black members of the left in the height of the socialist communist period in this country. That kind of solidarity was necessary to function, to put pressure on the status quo and the ruling class to get the concessions that were eventually gotten. So for me, this is not about a vapid plea to identity politics. It's tactical, it's strategic.
Mm-hmm.
That I think it's important that we have not just any black voices for the sake of black voices, but skilled, quality black voices on the left to counter the neoliberal barrage that's going to come to try to shut down any types of solidarity that make a left politics possible in this country.
And these identity wedge issues are always an Achilles heel in left movements. I mean, from the work I do on Turkey, after the Second World War, the Turkish left was unable to make any ground because they were never able to solve the Kurdish question or come to some kind of arrangement with Kurdish leftists. So this always left the left side of politics in Turkey, and I mean here in a very broad sense, the kind of secular sort of social democratic left all the way to like the revolutionary left, fundamentally crippled in the face of a more consolidated sort of right wing of politics based around a firm Turkish Islamic identity, whereas the left could never overcome sort of nationalist divisions or the notion that the left should be under Turkish leadership and things like that. And that's a problem that persists today. The reason Erdogan in Turkey can maintain control even as he loses support is that the opposition is fractured between a sort of Turkish nationalist center left and a sort of more socialist and more Kurdish orientated multicultural left. And it's not a one-to-one parallel, but this is the problem. I think what Pascal was saying about about how
black politics was used to neutralize.
But how black politics is used to neutralize things. These identity issues in the Middle Eastern place are always used to neutralize left-wing political movements because it exploits these kind of fissures between groups. So I mean, this is kind of parallel I see between the cases in the sense that you have identity politics. People sort of routinely on the left condemn identity politics, but without making distinctions between different functions of identity politics. I mean, there's a big difference between talking about specific issues that affect specific groups, whether it's ethnic or cultural groups, specific problems, material problems that they face. And then or just using black identity or whatever to say, oh, we should not stop lobbyists joining the Biden administration because that's racist and we can't, we need all these qualified black people from K Street on the thing. So I think, identity politics is a kind of very pernicious term that has come into the vocabulary recently because it obfuscates very, very different types of politics based around group identities, which do have material basis and do need to be considered when addressing, that do need to be considered on the left.
When you're thinking about trying to have a really radical politics, a politics where working class people come together in order to take political power and transform the basis of society, a real long haul revolutionary project, one of the things that comes up is identity, not just on ethnic terms, but on class terms as well. And one of the problems I think that people on the left, especially in the Marxist tradition, are having now is that we look around and we don't see a proletariat. We don't see a group that has an an identity, a revolutionary identity, or a socialist identity built into their politics. It's like historically the proletariat was the politically conscious working class, and in last 50 years in America, black people are supposed to are the group of people who are supposed to be the vanguard, who are supposed to be the politically conscious group. But a lot of Marxists have invested.
I think the assumption of that formulation is why we're at we are. That the assumption that which is a very common Trotskyist assumption that black people are the vanguard party of American radical politics, I think is a faulty one. Because it essentializes, it makes black people magical. I don't believe ethnic groups are magical. I think black people can be as reactionary as anyone else. I mean, how we've seen evidence of this.
The question for me is like, was the original idea that the working class itself had a standpoint which could take in the totality of capitalism and transcend it because of their position in the class system itself, a kind of magical thinking? That's the question I've been asking myself.
But to your class point, though, how do you feel, though, Doug and Djene? Because you guys have been doing this for a minute, and you guys are close to a lot of the people that are pretty big names in this leftist media sphere. A lot of them do come from a little bit of money. And I do see that, and I'm just looking on the internet, that's kind of like a critique for some of these people is just like, well, I'm not going to listen to what you say because you come from money. So you don't know shit about the working class.
I don't take that seriously because I'm a doctor's son. I'm class A.
I'm also a doctor's son as well.
Yeah, but I had to work grunt jobs my entire adult life just to get by. But if anything really went south, I could always say, hey Dad, but I worked low-level jobs my whole life,
like Johnny and Cobra Kai.
Yeah, like Johnny.
Well, I think this speaks to like a general issue, is that it's so hard to get educated, especially in the United States. It's much harder for working class people to take the risk to engage in these type of professions. That's simply the fact. They don't have the luxury to get the degrees or do the internships. Now, sort of to a certain degree, social media and YouTube sort of equalizes the field because anyone can start a YouTube channel, but still there's a certain degree of education and that people receive that allows them to enter into these careers. So I think even in left media, there's a disproportionate sort of petty bourgeois. People are always attacking Megan Day because her parents are, wealthy people. But ultimately, I think I agree with Pascal. You do need people to defect from that class to build a movement. It can't all just be one class. There does have to be there have to be defectors. People bring different skills to the field, and I guess there's obviously always grifting when it comes. People will take advantage of these kind of things, but in general, are we really surprised that's the case? That media would be dominated by people who come from at least relative means that has allowed them to gain the technical and communication skills needed, to engage in the media field. You mentioned Obama earlier on. Obama came from a kind of a background where he could get that training in order to become a communicator. Obviously, he has natural skill and natural charisma, but he also had training. That kind of like communication takes time and ability, and that's he benefited from his class background in that sense as well. So I just don't think it's very surprising.
Right.
Jason left. We'll remove him from the stream. There we go. When he comes back, he'll come back. So what were you going to say, Pascal?
No, I think these are all solid and important points, and I think that we shouldn't really interrogate Brianna Joy Gray anymore. I think we can interrogate Katie Halper, who in the same way, and for a lot of other reasons, because I think I find Brianna Joy Gray a much more serious figure than Katie Halper. I like Katie Halper, but I find Brianna Joy Gray just more. I think she brings a little bit more kind of.
I agree with the Katie Halper take. And you this is probably gonna get us in.
Didn't Katie Halper start out as a comedian or something like that?
I think wasn't she an actual comedian?
She was kind of been on this left comedian sphere for a minute. There's another person that is just way too. Oh God, I can't. I try to take seriously, but it's hard. I kind of don't want to say names on here because I know we're going to get in trouble. Huh?
Well, it's Parrot Room. We can talk. We can talk.
You can talk freely in the Parrot Room. It's the petty bourgeois room. So only the
no one could ever clip this and then spread it on Twitter. That would never ever happen. It's impossible. So go ahead.
The what's her name? Nomiki Kant sometimes just comes off a little too like.
I've been talking to her lately. Goodbye. So
well, she's friends with Harvey. Harvey we've become cool.
She had me on her show and
she on the show? Oh, good.
Is she gonna write a book for Zero Books?
Maybe. It's sort of in the background, maybe. But anyway, but you go ahead. Trash one of our authors.
What's to be for her?
No, look,
I'm not trying to trash her. It's just she gets real. I don't know. I feel like she alienates her audience and her audience at the end of the day. But I was watching a show that she just talks about shit. You're like, damn, you just sound rich. You just sound rich as fuck. And some of the way you talk, it's like, I don't even want to listen to the shit you say because you just sound so rich. And
I think that's a bad reaction to have, Jason.
Do you?
I don't. I don't think
I don't.
I think it's
she
a
had that
natural
fight with Katie Halper on air. I think I hit.
I know what you're talking about.
That
I'm
shit
not
was
saying that
hilarious.
sounds rich, but I'm just saying if you have that reaction, it's probably something to it. But the trick is to listen to people and get past whatever their immediate kind of.
No, I like Katie Halper. I think she's, I think she's interesting.
This is all very gendered, Doug. We're talking about a lot of women.
Look, I'm not leaving.
Now we're Jimmy Dore.
Women in left media here. I think this is a bit problematic, guys.
I told you at the start we're all going to get canceled, but
you got to switch on to the men.
Yeah, let's.
I don't like Jimmy Dore. I think he's a douche.
Yeah, well, Jimmy Dore
doesn't sound rich though, does he?
He's got money now. He wasn't always.
He is rich. He doesn't sound rich. That's the difference, right?
I don't know. All Americans sound like peasants to me. So
one of the people in the comments is hilarious as fuck. 20 minutes of Nomiki demanding to talk to
He's out of here now. No, all right, you're back. Look, I switched you all around.
That's cool. But Jimmy Dore is like, it's pretty vapid politics, and it's like it's candy for your teeth. Occasionally, it's fun, but it's I think it's ultimately a kind of. I mean, you put it in your video that everybody criticized, where it's like, at the end of the day, he's doing all this complaining about AOC, but what is his politics? It's to do some other silly kind of
I think he's a guy who, frankly, in 2008, if he didn't have a crash, he'd be looking for a place to invest his stock dividends. And him, like a lot of people on the left, just became leftist because they saw a lot of people take hard losses after the crash. Bernie Sanders came along, and they made them look at this thing that they call socialism, and they never had an idea they might be one day in their life. And he's still trying to work his way through what this all means. And he's
fair.
Because he's passionate, people take that for actually being knowledgeable about something. But I don't think that he's a third positionist. I don't think he's a poser. I think that I don't think he would say, he might say he's a socialist. But I think he realizes that there's a problem with capitalism. There's a problem with capitalism, and poor and working class people are being screwed, and he wants them to stop getting screwed. I think that people are projecting. I like Jimmy Dore. You know why? because Jimmy Dore, I'll be very frank, has exposed more people that I know who are educated or not to politics that challenge the status quo in this country than any of the quote unquote leftists, white or otherwise, that we've talked about in this show this show thus far. Because he knows how to make it entertaining. You know,
he's taken. I said this before. He's taken a Morton Downey Jr. shtick, and he runs with it. He's a broken clock, as numerous people have said. You know, Pascal and I go back and forth on the whole Jimmy Dore thing. I'm not a fan. I feel like if you really have a critique of shit and you live in LA and you live in the city where there's more homeless people than anywhere else in fucking California, and you live in a city with the most powerful city council in the country, and you don't do shit about LA politics, and you got to step over homeless people to get in your motherfucking studio, I don't give a fuck what you got to say about AOC.
no,
There's real shit
what
happening
I'm
around
doing.
you, motherfucking. You don't even talk about it.
Well, that was the problem, and I know I'm going to talk about a woman again, but the Amy Therese, the Australian lady that fighted with everybody on Facebook, on Twitter, you know her?
What's the deal with her? What's the story behind it?
I don't know her.
Nobody knows. I don't know.
She's Australian, but it was like you always want to say it's like
You know who introduced? She got put on by Dead Pundit Society. That's
Yeah,
what
Adam
she started.
Proctor, yeah.
Word.
Who I know. Yeah.
I was on Proctor's show. I used to be Facebook friends with Proctor. What happened to Proctor?
He got burned a little bit. I think his show's still going. I just emailed him yesterday. But he got burned a little bit when they split the two of them. And Proctor, tried to, I think Therese found out that by being kind of shitty on Twitter, she could gain a lot of notoriety.
Mhm.
So she went down that road because it was a good strategy to get attention. And Proctor is a bit more serious, and he saw that it was doing damage, not just to his reputation, but to the idea of bringing together people of all different types for a left project. And so he distanced himself from that. And then, but in the war of attention, I think he ended up, his show shrank a little bit and hers grew pretty quickly. And that's all I know really about it. But I like Proctor. Okay. I don't agree with Proctor about everything, about his, like, theoretically. Here's my question for you guys is, like, how do we bring the discourse up to a level where people are talking about things sometimes abstractly, sometimes historically, sometimes very materially and immediately, but are able to kind of shift around those levels without it being considered elitist or not working class or not populist enough. I feel like what I have tried to make Zero Books a little bit more accessible, but the way I've done it is by making it my own. But just like my podcast originally was an autodidactic project to try to figure out what was going wrong after the financial crisis. To a large extent, that's what it was. And the promotion I do and the publicity I do, especially the video essays, are still that, right? Like, it's still me trying to work out ideas to my own satisfaction. And I don't try to shift into a level where I'm talking to where I think people are already at. Like, I'm trying to, but I don't feel like I'm not being working class when I do that.
But can one voice be all those things? I mean, we just need multiple voices.
I don't think we need all voices to be all of that.
Yeah. You're going to be the Zero Books is a certain channel that does certain things, right? So
I think the problem is, frankly, all of the voices aren't any of that. They're all they all sound like a bunch of college educated kids or professors talking in the faculty lounge.
which it is some of the time. Like, which it is. But it is what it is.
And there's
I'm not a professor. I just want to point out I have a.
We were excited about coming on Zero Books. We're also a little nervous.
Well, I'm glad because Doug, I have a law degree. I'm not a PhD. I thought about going to grad.
Yeah, you're more educated than I am.
Right. Like I kind of appreciate. Like I like the citizen scholar thing that that like I just want you to have a BA. I think it's cool that you enter the theory. Like I kind of consider myself that kind of citizen scholar guy. Like I have a law degree, so I do have an advanced degree, but I can read into some theory. I kind of understand some different things here. I have a lot of friends who are academics who explain a lot of this stuff to me as well, and so I think that's good. But at the same time, I got my political education about politics and not just black politics from a guy who had no college degree, had a working high school diploma, and maybe some college credits, and that was Bruce Dixon, a Black Agenda Report. He's probably one of the most brilliant men I've ever known, and he was a career left organizer.
Right, but I bet you he read like crazy though.
He read. I mean, this guy forgot more books than I.
Well, and I think the other point is like I think it is good for academics to come out of the ivory tower, because this is the criticism that academics get. It's like you all just hang out in the university, stay on campus and don't engage with the broader public. But it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because if you come out and try and engage in public discourse as an academic, you get accused of being an elitist. So that's just part of the course. And I think we don't give people credit enough, because like a lot of my friends back in my hometown in England are working class people, like, and I know like they watch stuff like Ben Burgess's show, or they check out the Zero books. They have like normal jobs. Some of them have undergraduate degrees. Some of them don't have undergraduate degrees, but they dip in and out. And they're not. It's not like it's the stuff people are talking about is beyond like. It's not as if you have to have been to university to be able to comprehend language and what people are talking about. So I think sometimes the criticisms of elitism reflect a kind of elitism in that only an elite could deal with concepts like this. It's like, no, most of these concepts, sometimes there's a word that you have to look up, and everybody has to do it. I have to look up words sometimes, but most of the time I think people can understand what people are saying. And I think the criticisms of elitism reflect a kind of elitism about what people can understand.
Pascal, earlier in the other stream, we talked about how the black vote has become conservative. And I said that I thought that, I imagine a lot of regular black people would look at Bernie Sanders and say, yeah, he talks real good. He sounds like one of those nonprofit liberal types, but what has he ever done? And the thing about that was, I don't think that those people are necessarily wrong when they are skeptical. Because I think Bernie Sanders would have had a really, really rough time if he had ever become president, getting any of his agenda accomplished.
Hell yeah.
And
that's for sure.
And the kind of satisfaction that somebody who might be upper middle class would have in having won symbolically by getting him in. But even though they lost in the next election, or they lost in the midterms and their agenda was trashed, wouldn't be there for your everyday working class person.
I'll be very frank with you, Doug. I am happy to meet a leftist of the majoritarian hue. It's not a Sanders ophile, like who's not completely. If I see one more person like sucking Bernie Sanders kneecaps, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, man. I was like, yo, listen. Okay,
go on.
It's like, I'm like, yo, do you guys worship at the altar of Saint Bernie here? I was like, yo, I give Bernie credit for what he did. I think there was value to it, but do you kids really believe this guy was going to be president? Are you joking me? Like, do you understand what country this is? Do you understand what the American ruling class is?
Many of us are prisoners of hope.
You actually thought they would let Bernie Sanders become president of the United States? What are you smoking?
Probably meth.
On the one hand, I feel like you're not wrong. On the other hand, I think that's more likely than the kinds of things that actually need to happen if we're going to solve the crisis that we've been in since, at the very least, the 1970s. But but really since the 19th century. I mean, if we're going to get to socialism, we're going to have to go have things happen that are more fantastical than Bernie Sanders becoming president.
But would you agree though? Would everybody here agree that Bernie Sanders in 2016, 2015 running post Occupy does open a lot of people up to the idea of socialism not being a bad word?
I mean, it's
Yes,
like
I give him credit for that.
it's like in
Doug
Britain.
does not.
Yeah, and with Corbyn, right?
Well, but Corbyn's thing ended in disaster, and
Yeah.
my conspiracy theory that I have, which is my baseless conspiracy theory, is that in 10 to 15 years' time, we will find out that the CIA and all these like American intelligence operations were working in cahoots with MI6 and MI5 to deliberately undermine the Labour, because Labour nearly won in 2017.
Yeah,
It was very close, and there was that I've never seen such a campaign in British
I don't
politics.
think it was that deep. I think in terms of what happened in Great Britain was simply that Labour did not have an answer for Brexit. Period.
I think that's part of the story, but I think that's also a story that leftists like to tell themselves as well.
I think leftists like to tell themselves.
Hold on, let
that
Gene
there was
talk.
a deep thing. No, I'll let him talk, but I want to interrupt because it's my show, sort of. I think the leftists like to tell themselves, and have been since at least the New Left, that the reason they're failing is because of a deep state conspiracy. There's COINTELPRO that killed them. It's the CIA or the FBI. We were infiltrated. Without that means you don't have to look at whatever the problems are intrinsically to your project. You can always blame some outside force.
I think that
it's overdetermined. It's like not one thing. I mean, Labour shot itself in the foot because it started taking on all these, like, after 2017, they started doing stuff which, for example, one of the things that they had in the Labour manifesto, instead of focusing on the kind of jobs things that were popular, they started doing stuff like, oh, we're going to decolonize schools and like teach about the British Empire. That's all a fucking great idea, but why the hell are you leading with those kind of policies that are going to alienate, like, what you do is,
and free Wi-Fi for everybody too. That was another big one.
Now everybody's on that free Wi-Fi stuff, but I think there's a whole bunch of reasons. I think that's my conspiracy theory that there was, because Pompeo said something about them not allowing Corbyn to come to power, but there was like a really coordinated effort in the media to like paint Corbyn as an anti-Semite, which this was like some real bullshit stuff that was.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, if we ever really tried to take power, like as a class, if working class people really tried to take power, not just through some social democratic Labor Party candidate, but take real political power through a new party, what you saw against Corbyn would be magnified 100 times, and we'd still have to fight and win.
So you're saying, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No. Please finish.
No, that's it. I'm finished. That's the end. So what are you?
I was gonna say you ruined.
Well, we still have to fight and win. Is like the big, microphone drop kind of moment.
Well, no, like is that why this People's Party that's being formed on Twitter is a bunch of bullshit?
Well, I think the People's Party idea it sounds like populism to me, and I think that it has to be like a workers' party, but that's just knee-jerk kind of ideological response. I don't know a lot about what's going on with the People's Party. What do you guys think of it?
I mean, is it even a political party? I mean, it strikes me that in the American system anyway, the way American electoral politics is structured, it's like rigged against any third party even trying to attempt that. I mean, it's hard enough in European countries with parliamentary systems for third parties to get off the ground. But in America, with the way that like elections function and the way, I mean, I don't know where it's going. It's very different.
It feels like a lot of the third parties you never really hear about until presidential elections, and they don't.
That's part of the problem. I think very frankly, we have to have third parties who are interested in movement politics as well as electoral politics. and we have to have those movement politics be rooted in working class as well as labor issues, as well as environmental issues, and as well as challenging capitalism and imperialism. Listen, man. I'm sorry. We gotta. I mean, we need to have a.
Sorry, Gene.
We gotta have a rigorous
about imperialism.
left. I think that I think Biden is unfortunately going to put a lot of people to sleep. I think Biden, when he says "I beat the socialists," was being dead serious. And I think that
as a motherfucker,
and I think that Biden is going to shut progressives down. And I think that the Democratic Party, I think the reason why George W. Bush is thanking Jim Clyburn for helping Joe Biden win the South Carolina primary is because he realized that Jim Clyburn helped preserve the bipartisan neoliberal agenda for the ruling class in America by neutralizing Bernie Sanders, using black politics in South Carolina.
I think that Obama is a good model for what Biden's going to be like.
Obama neutralizes a lot.
Actually,
I don't think that Biden has the intoxicating nature of the first black president, Sheen.
I agree.
I think he's going to try to dispatch.
I actually thought
people were not quiescent. People did not just shut up after Obama. After 8 years of Obama, there was the Occupy movement. There was the Sanders campaign. There was the Trump movement, which was a reactionary response. And the reason why all that Obama couldn't keep everyone happy was because nobody at the top is going to be able to really overcome the problems that are being created by the system itself. You know, the 2008 crisis was very, very slow to resolve, and everything that
has it resolved?
Well, it did to a degree. We got out of it for a couple of years, and now we're back in it worse than we were in 2008.
We're looking at way more homeless numbers than we were before. Don't also forget, no one ever talks about this shit. I don't know why. Is you have the BP oil spill during the Obama administration.
Oh, I know, that was such a disaster.
You know, that I worked in that world.
It was on par with the forest fires that we all.
I choppered out with the BP people. It was across the water from the rig I was on.
After 2016, I thought that, and I was wrong, but I thought that the Democratic Party would never nominate another white man to lead them. I thought like the path forward for the Democratic Party would always to have an inverted commas token presidential candidate in order to keep that illusion of sort of social progress going up. And I still think, in a certain way, Biden is like that because, he brought Kamala Harris on the ticket. And I think I really agree with Pascal about the way that, neoliberalism, or at least the sort of the liberal rather than conservative flank of neoliberalism, is going to weaponize kind of identity to try and obfuscate the, continued economic problems facing the majority of working class people. And I think, and so I was surprised that Biden was nominated. I thought it would be someone like Cory Booker. I thought Kamala was a strong candidate as well, but I think
I thought it would be Biden the whole
Trump
time.
Was so triggering.
Did anybody think Tulsi had a chance? Somebody in the comments.
No, Tulsi doesn't have a chance.
No, but I thought it would be Biden because Biden was a continuation of the Obama administration. Biden had the most political clout. Biden was clearly the most established politician, and if things were normal, it was going to be Biden. The only other person it could have been was Bernie Sanders. That's the only other
Clinton before Clinton.
Yeah. But it was going to come down to Biden or Bernie, I thought, and that's what happened.
The whole primary was set up to deny Biden and Bernie confronting each other. That's why they had so many candidates. Bruce Dixon told me that before he died. He's like, the whole purpose of this primary is set up to make sure Joe Biden gets the nomination and Bernie Sanders doesn't come close.
Yeah, but it's funny. The only way Biden could really do it is when all those other candidates went away. It backfired on them because having all those other candidates there is what gave Bernie those first 3 states, is because people couldn't coalesce around Biden as the anti-Bernie candidate.
And those candidates were horrible.
Yeah.
I mean,
And also,
you didn't like
I think
Amy
people
Klobuchar?
underestimated the anti-Hillary Clinton vote in 2016. I think a lot of Bernie supporters were like, "Oh, Bernie's doing really, really well." But like, I picked up pretty quickly after moving to Missouri. One of the reasons Bernie did really well is because people freaking hate Hillary Clinton,
That's
you
it.
know, like with a passion that is like almost to an irrational sense.
that's
I mean, like,
bipartisan.
I'm no Hillary Clinton. I'm no Hillary Clinton fan or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, the visceral hatred for like in Southwest Missouri, like people like Uber drivers tell me stuff like, "Oh yeah, the Clintons used to like murder people and then dump their bodies off across from Arkansas into Southwest Missouri."
Isn't that just a fact, though? Anyway, go on. I mean, they killed Vince Foster, right? I mean, that's just
They killed Jodie
doesn't
Foster.
everyone know that? No, Vince Foster.
Vince
Oh,
Foster.
not Jodie
Actually,
Foster.
Actually, my mother-in-law tells me that. She goes, like, it's very suspicious that so many
I
people.
read that in the paper. Isn't that just the fact?
I've seen
okay.
a YouTube video on it.
Oh yeah, that's where I saw that. And yeah, okay. But yeah, no, I agree that there was a big anti-Hillary Clinton vote, and I'm not.
That's the only
I'm
reason
not
why
sad
Trump.
about it.
That's the only reason why Trump won the election.
Yeah.
Doug Lane endorses the Clinton body count. There we
Funny
go.
ass comments on it.
Yeah, I believe that Bill Clinton had people killed. And
By the way, my wife was very concerned when you said that Adolf Reed doesn't return your emails. She said Doug shouldn't be broadcasting that on YouTube. She had a Persian term for it, kelas gojestan, which is like, don't tell people about your weaknesses in public.
Damn.
oh, okay.
I like that one. I'm gonna start.
I tend to take the opposite approach, is to kind of the Columbo approach.
Oh, you are a bit like Columbo, actually. I'm saying it. Just one more thing.
Oh, I'm just a guy. Nobody returns my calls. Don't worry about me. You don't even have to look in my direction. I just, how much do you pay for those shoes? And oh, by the way, tell me about those the gloves that you left under the car. How did those end up there? So, I've been watching Columbo lately.
Well, did
Pascal,
you
have you ever watched Columbo?
I'm old enough to remember the show when it was on regular television.
Yeah,
I
me
didn't
too.
watch. I was more of a Kojak guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Was that Telly Savalas? The
Telly
Greek
Telly
Savalas.
actor?
Savalas. He was more cool. He was
Savalas.
cooler.
I was very much enjoying the Things We Do in the Dark comedy series. I strongly recommend. I recommended that to you, Doug.
Yeah, I watched the first one, and then we watched an episode with Columbo with William Shatner in it.
Oh,
From
really?
1976.
Doug is really over here watching Columbo. What the fuck is Columbo on?
It's on Amazon.
You can get anything on Amazon.
Yes,
But
you
it's
got
free.
some of that shit. I
Yeah,
never
but I
watched
paid
the
for that
Hunger Games.
a year
I'm
ago.
reading Michael Harris books. I never watched the fucking Hunger Games, and I was like, "Oh, I want to watch the Hunger Games." But you got to pay for it.
No, but Columbo's free. On if you
Columbo's
have
free?
Amazon Prime.
That's good.
If you have Amazon Prime, which I still do, but which I'm going to let lapse, I swear.
Different World is free on Amazon.
Yeah.
And what else is free? What shows are you watching, Pascal? Watch this.
I don't watch popular culture. It triggers my neuroses.
There you go.
And you're saying that I'm not working class.
I'm actually kind of joking, but I'm actually not. Like, I got to a certain point where I was really reading so much like left stuff about like popular culture and media. Like, I like left analysis of the way in which, like, that whole like one-dimensional man shtick, that whole kind of like, Frankfurt School stuff. I kind of like that stuff. I actually believe I believe that the function of popular culture is to maintain the capitalist ruling class's ability to social engineer the proletariat and the masses. And I got so into that stuff that I just stopped watching television. I was like, I don't want to watch TV anymore.
Pascal wrote a great.
This is exactly the problem with the Frankfurt School. It's like old German men complaining that there are 50 channels and there's nothing to watch on TV.
That's right.
That's
Pascal, we should do a podcast, the two of us, about Marcuse and One Dimensional Man. Do you want to do that sometime?
I mean, I'm not saying I'm an expert on the stuff. I'm
Look, I'm not either. This is the whole shtick I do. Is I'm not an expert and I talk shit about these guys anyway.
Doug, Pascal wrote a great piece on Clarence Avant.
If you guys want to read a piece that explains my whole position on popular culture. Not my whole position, but one of them was a piece I wrote on Black Agenda Report called "The Black Godfather." The Black Godfather. Let me get it. Black Godfather. It's right
Put
here.
it into the chat so people
Clarence,
into the comments. So people can,
is a I don't know if you guys watched that documentary on him on Netflix. It's called like The Black Godfather, and it's really good. And Pascal, you wrote that piece before the documentary, right?
No, right after watching the documentary.
Really
right
kind
after
of
watching.
even when you're watching the documentary, like Obama's in it, Bill Clinton's in it, and they keep thanking this guy for helping them get elected. He got his daughter a position as a what is she? What do you call those people that are in different? I can't think right now.
Where can I put it in the chat?
if you click on comments and then you can post a comment and then hit chat and people will be able to see it, and then also you could send me a link to it and I will put it in the description for it
In a private chat, I think you gotta go.
But there's
Clarence Avant. Go ahead. Tell them what Clarence Avant did, Pascal.
Well, Clarence Avant was basically a ruling tool of the media elite who corral black talent to function in television, film, and music at the behest of of not only the Democratic Party, but at the media power elite in the late 60s, early 70s. And he was kind of doing this at a time in which it was very important, based on the Kerner Commission report, to neutralize the urban rebellions by increasing the presence of black people on television, movies, TV shows. So he's used to help create things like, Soul Train. You have, things like Good Times. And if you actually read the Kerner Commission report, they talk about how they want to start the influx of black popular cultural production in the early 70s, late 60s, as a way to neutralize the urban rebellions that proliferated to the point where there were over 300 in cities throughout the country between 1967 and 1971. So when you see how all of a sudden, like, you have like black soul music becomes super hi-fi in the late 60s, early 70s, you have all these shows, you have all these black, Afro sheen and all of this other stuff, it becomes very obvious that like this becomes a reification of attempt of kind of like a social containment of a once rebellious population to turn them not only into hyper consumers, but ultimate political pacification.
I just find that idea to be so gloomy, because we're not going to get away from having our ideas and our culture reflected through mass culture. That is a fait accompli. That is done. We're not going to be able to like turn off the spigot of pop music.
Well, Doug, one of the reasons why you would not probably bash, I think that one of the main reasons why the left has failed is that the left cannot create the ideological infrastructure through mass media and popular culture to control the behavior of the masses as effectively as the ruling class. Bottom line.
And not only that, but left media in certain ways reflects the patterns of entertainment television as well. You have like personal beefs between different left media figures. You have drama, and you even there's a guy who has an entire YouTube channel based on like who's beefing with who on Twitter. I'm serious though. Like this is like one of the things I used to really respect.
But
about
we're doing it too in the Parrot room. But
in the Parrot room, it's like we're like doing it behind closed doors to a certain degree with the petty bourgeoisie in the chat.
Doug, check your Facebook Messenger. Doug,
I sent it in the private chat. Doug, I sent you the link to it in the private.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'll put it in the I'm going to put it in the main chat, and then I'll also like.
But that's what like hip hop is nowadays. Hip hop, is
like hip hop is all just like it's like
the beef is more important than the music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But I just feel like if we had a real material project where we could say with real confidence, hey, we know what socialism is going to be like. We have a plan, we have a strategy. The working class can take power and they can really change things. And here's how it would happen. And if we knew that, if we weren't just whistling past the graveyard, I love what is going on with me. I hit 50 and now I'm just filled with these kinds of
folksy
little folks. Yeah, folksism.
That folksy shit is awesome.
Yeah, but anyway, if we weren't just whistling past the graveyard. God. Anyway, if we weren't putting on a facade then I think we could communicate. We could get people behind this idea, but instead, we focus on trying to control their minds, just like the ruling ideologies apparently does, and this isn't ever going to work.
Well, that's why I have like respect for, like, Aaron Bastani wrote the Fully Automated Luxury Communism book, which, at least it's an attempt to say, look, we can do something better. Look what it would be like. Even Bhaskar Sinkara's Socialist Manifesto has a kind of like, this is what it might look like. I mean, I know people might disagree with what that vision is, but at the end of the day, I think I think there is definitely a lack of imagination of. Well, it's like it's capitalist realism, right? It's like we literally can't imagine our way out of this.
On the other hand, you do have to talk to people's real bread and butter kind of everyday issues, or else if you're just Elon Musk selling socialism, I have a vision of the future where we fly space cars and we don't have to work. Then I don't think everyday people are going to buy into that so much either. So it's a real tricky. I don't know. It's not. It can't just come down to a couple of guys on YouTube. Luckily.
Who's Jehu?
Jehu is a Marxist who's been around on the internet for a long time. I've talked to him. I think I interviewed him like 8 years ago, and he's kind of a gold bug. He is very focused on how money is a commodity and which means it's gold. He's a critic of the temporal single system interpretation of Marx. I believe he's a black guy, but more than that, he's a real strong orthodox Marxist crank like me. So,
are you an orthodox Marxist?
Crank.
A crank.
Okay. Gotta add the crank in there, else there's no such thing as an orthodox.
I'd love to see some of your takedowns of Jordan Peterson.
Oh, we forgot all about that Jordan Peterson thing. We wanted to talk to you about.
Jordan Peterson's really degenerated now, hasn't he? He's
sick. He's been sick. Yeah,
he's been sick.
No, he's back. He was on some. Jordan Peterson is back.
Is he? Is he well enough?
Yeah, he was on somebody's show recently talking that same shit.
Oh, great!
His daughter.
That's good news. I can make videos that go viral again.
The best video of Jordan Peterson is the one where they like have Jordan Peterson giving a speech about tidying your room, but Kermit the Frog tidying up the room. Have you seen that one?
Oh no,
I
see somebody said his new book is coming out this year. Yeah, he's back. Yeah. He got out of rehab and he had COVID too, didn't he?
He had COVID. He was on the benzos, I think.
I didn't hear about the
benzos. Yeah,
he had a rough go. His daughter got married or something.
His daughter is like she does like an all meat diet and eats feces. She does like this health food thing where you take
boo boo.
Like it's a health food thing that they eat poo poo.
You gonna look me in the eye, in the internet eye.
Yeah.
As much as we talk Djene Bajlan and tell me that woman eats boo boo.
She fucking made a video about how she like was feeling ill. So she went to the health shop and got some poop, and like it's a thing.
Where did she go to?
I don't know.
All right. I think we've hit the bottom of this Parrot room.
Nice show, guys. I got it.
Pascal.
I hadn't even
literally and metaphorically.
Okay, we'll let you go. But Pascal, will you come on sometime? Just the two of us. We can talk about Marcuse. Would you be willing to do that?
Do it.
Jason's said yes.
I guess. Yes.
All right, great. We'll do that soon. All right, I'm going to end the broadcast.
Thanks, Doug.
Yeah.
Thanks. See you later.